Hello and welcome to Exploring Our Depths podcast. Today I have a special guest with me, and if you are new here, my name is Daddy Doyen. I am the owner / founder of the Kinky Cafe LLC, burlesque performer, professional dominatrix, dom, fine dom, and kink educator. And this would be my special guest, my baby girl, Jack. So today we're doing something a little bit different. I had a chat with my baby girl, and she was talking to me about being more of my authentic self when speaking, because due to my ADHD, I feel like I need to write myself a script every time I do these podcasts and things like that, or any kind of content, because I feel like I can't remember everything that I need to touch on throughout the time. So I make myself a little script, and then I read that script off, and I try to sound as authentic as possible, but it's just not the same as when I'm having a conversation with someone. So I decided that today I'm having a conversation with someone, and who better to start with than my partner and submissive, my baby girl, Jack. So let's start with introduce yourself.
Hi,
tell the people.
I'm Jack, she, her pronouns. I am happy to be doing this and being vulnerable
and finally doing a little more out in the public eye.
Coming out of hiding.
So what do you do?
I don't know. I am at a transit of recognizing myself and figuring out what I want to do and who I want to be. And I'm just kind of the only moment, I feel like the only title I have is baby girl.
Yes, but in your vanilla life,
yeah,
what is your title?
Teacher. Yeah.
It's not a question. It's a what is it? We don't have to tell them anything else. So tell the people a little bit about how we met, why you reached out to me.
Can I
a little bit of background when it comes to like your social standing and like culturally the differences between us. First of all,
the most unlikely counterpart to you. I come from a very heteronormative, white, colonized, deeply white. What was the word? Not white. We're switching terms. We're moving from white delusion.
White delusion. Yeah.
Really coming from a space with little understanding of BDSM, queer culture, trans culture, black culture, Caribbean culture, any semblance of flavor or spice. I had none. I was an unseasoned chicken, and I come here bare and raw and ready for all the spice. It has taken a little bit of cooking.
Yeah, no.
But Daddy's a chef.
We've had to marinate. I've
been marinating.
We've had to marinate and wash with lime.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you reach out, and how did we meet?
Online dating.
I mean, whatever. We're queer.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Literally, every
That's how
story,
we
every
have
queer
to
story
sometimes,
started.
especially when you run out of people within your immediate vicinity.
Yeah, and I was really just looking for connection. I was in a relationship with someone that will name later, and we decided to open up that relationship because neither of us were feeling fulfilled, and I had really been seeking more of a way to connect with those like inner thoughts that I was really curious about. And so I was just drawn to like your energy. Like I like fucks with people, but I don't really fucks with people. And like some people I just see and I'm like, I fucks with you. And then you brought me a coffee one day, and
Yeah.
I've just been in love ever since.
So let's go back to that. So when it comes to like kink and BDSM, what initially made you like, what initially got you into that? Basically, what gave you that inkling? And like, does it have to have anything to do with trauma or anything like that? What do you think is the root cause?
I think from a young age I was drawn to like fantasies of certain things, and I had a misunderstanding of really what that dynamic looked like. And like my first boyfriend giving me 50 Shades of Grey as a birthday present, the whole trilogy in front of my grandparents when I was 16 years old. It was my like it was my leap birthday. It was a big birthday. And all of them in front of everyone, and like I don't even read books like that. Like that was just like an ode, I think, to my character at the time of like, I don't really know. Like I think I was like maybe a little bit less vanilla-esque than I thought at that time.
Were you trying to like
Drop hints on him? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe yeah. For sure. Like, I don't know. Like now
like,
that I think about
other
it,
stuff.
never really thought about that. And then on the other half, after being and trigger warning, but like sexually assaulted, raped, and losing my sense of power completely, having no sense of power, having no sense of confidence, but like that power dynamic, that ability to relinquish control and be safe and like experience a mode to feel my whole power, I think was like really the like, I'm spiritually inclined for this. This feels like a really good like mode of myself that I want to explore because I want to feel my power again and I want to reclaim that. Fuck bitches, get money. Sorry.
Can't.
Bitch don't know how to be serious.
I know. It's the tism.
Got that tism.
Where are we going here? So tell us a little bit more about that situation that you were in when we first met. Like, how did you start seeing this person? What was the duration of your relationship? And how did you go from that to this?
Getting into the sauce, daddy.
I'm telling you,
Okay.
we are digging deep today.
Yeah, all right.
You said you wanted to have a conversation. We're having a conversation. Okay? Like you can't talk to a Scorpio Mercury about conversations and communication and expect
I know. It's
shallow.
Just, what is the code name? Because we want to be respectful. You should be respectful.
Chucky.
Chucky, I like Chucky. Chucky's good. Chucky is fitting. That's good. That works. Okay, so
I'm thinking more Chuck E. Cheese. I'm petty.
I like both. That's so fucked. Oh, anyways, I got out of college. I hopped on a Tinder as I do because I'm constantly was on the prowl because I had no sense of self-love. I was naive. Notice was. And you hauled so hard. Was together a little over 3 years, right under 3 years, I think, when we had connected, and Daddy and I had connected, and I was living with Chucky, and things were not great. Things were fucking awful, frankly. Mental health shambles during pandemic, like quarantine, unemployed for a lot of it, and then it was the year after and that COVID came back, and then you and I kind of had just a connection. I hadn't been talking to anyone else. Towards the end of those 3 years, like the last couple months, half a year, we were both deeply unfulfilled, but living together. And as you do, you kind of, and also had cats together, as you do. But both understanding that, like, this was not really working out. And I wasn't feeling good. I was my heaviest weight, and my ex made sure I knew that every day. I was at my lowest mentally, which, again, my ex made sure I knew that every day. And as some people say, like, baby was put in the corner. Like, I literally was rescued from a castle the first night that I had the honor and privilege of like, actually interacting with Daddy. And it's been a journey of so many different, like, iterations of a relationship. I feel like it's the healthiest, the most communicative relationship. Like, I've never actually been wholly, truly, like, spoke my truth to someone. Like, I've never had boundaries. I've never actually said what I meant until you've taught me that. And now it's like, I see our relationship, and so, like, it wasn't necessarily a smooth transition. It was like, I'm living with Chucky and Daddy is coming over, and Daddy's making me scream, and Chucky's getting home.
That first night, and I decided that I was going to actually go inside. Then Chucky shows up at the end.
Hammered too, right? Like,
hammered with two girls.
Trying to have a threesome? Trying to have a threesome.
And she's just...
Because at this point it was like she was in competition with me, trying to see how many people she could bring into the house to, like, it just... I don't even know. Like, I for example, felt bad that, like, here's Daddy in my bed, and, like, we're fresh out, basically, of our relationship. We broke up, like, right before my birthday in February, and I am feeling guilty because that's my nature, is to, like, think about everybody else and constantly coddle to everybody else's needs and put them before my own. So, of course, I'm like, oh my God, freaking out, like, feeling bad. Meanwhile,
We
Chucky
were
is
trying to be
actively
respectful.
trying to be disrespectful.
Right.
Like, that's pretty much the dynamic summed up. Like,
Yeah.
and here I am thinking that everybody is willing to be good as I am, or like trying to
do their best.
Yeah.
You've definitely always, had like that way about you, and really the first red flag with that relationship with Chucky was that night that you were like, so she tells me that they're over at a friend's house and they're having a wine night, and like the Chucky at the time had told her that she was like, what, annoying them or
my
something?
anxiety was causing people to be very uncomfortable, and I was ruining the night. And because my anxiety was so bad, that I needed to go upstairs and shun myself away and go to bed. Yeah. Meanwhile, the person whose house we were staying at was like I wasn't actually anxious that evening. Like, yeah. I wasn't. I was like quite bold, in fact. I feel like I was actually like starting to own myself. And
do you think it was just because she was trying to bone that person?
Could be, or just brain games. Like I said, like it was a lot of, like.
But like, how do you put your adult partner, like, how
literally
do you send your adult partner to the room? Like,
was sent to the room, made sure that the door was closed, and was basically like, when I did come out and go downstairs, because I wanted to check in with the other person that, like, whose house we were at, I was yelled at for being out of the room and then like put back to bed. And
that's when I was like, I'm coming to get you, because that sounds stupid.
And it didn't even like strike a red flag for me at the
crazy.
point. Like
that your adult partner is putting you as an adult in timeout. Like, what? Excuse me? So,
and like aggressively too, like meanly, like not even like in a like, oh, you're anxious, like let's go, like that's okay. Like sometimes I am anxious and like need that, but this was like,
yeah, but if you're anxious, like the thing to do would be to help you out.
I wasn't even anxious.
Or like,
I'm always anxious, but
maybe you should go take 5 minutes, go do a grounding exercise. Everything's okay, babe. Like, just like a little teaspoon of reassurance is all it takes. And like, maybe you should go center yourself. Like that's acceptable.
No, go to bed. You're ruining the night. You're being an asshole.
Right.
So, and that was the start of this.
Yeah.
Really.
It has been a little rough, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a not that smooth transition, really. So polyamory. Let's like throw that into the mix, right? When you first met me, I think we were both kind of exploring polyamory for the first time. Like, me, not so much, because I had practiced polyamory before, but it was always kind of like I was fluctuating from polyamorous to monogamous depending on who I was with. And I think that's called that's some other phrase, and I can't remember it right now.
Sorry.
Anogamous? I don't know. Anyway. But when I met you, basically I was exploring polyamory for the first time for myself. Like,
Yeah, like in it on your own,
and
like not
and
coming from
telling and saying like, this is what I want. You know, really saying that this is what I want. But in your relationship, I feel like it was kind of more like a last ditch effort to really just end it.
quell our woes to like while we're living together with cats. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't out of a healthy way to approach polyamory from the get-go
right.
and that type of thing. But as a neurodivergent and like very open-minded person, like the idea of monogamy never really sat quite right with me either. Like, I don't think it's fair to ever assume that one person can meet all of your needs. And from the base, like, evolutionary or ecological perspective of that, like, I fully support polyamory. However, it needs to be done with intention, I think, from the start in most cases to reach its highest potential of success.
Yeah.
And so, like, our relationship is the first time that I've ever approached into polyamory from the get-go with that intention from the start. And yeah, I have fucked it up quite a few times. Turns out real hard, takes a lot of communication.
Has not been smooth.
Yeah, a lot of self-love. And if you don't have that either, you know, like, I fucked around and found out
bad decisions, some iffy decisions at least. Do you want to talk about that?
Is this just like a deep, darkest of my most vulnerable things in my life? Like, shit.
It's exploring our depths. That's the point. Exactly. We're deep diving. We are deep diving, baby. We are deep diving. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, I'm not hurt about it if you're not.
No, I cheated on Daddy, and I cheated not with explicit intention, but with, I think, implicit ignorance. Like, I didn't intend to harm them the way that I definitely did. And I was in such a spiral of my own self of, like, constantly just trying to, like, fill myself with something and, like, fearful of, you know, like, not being enough for Daddy, and then, like, also needing that validation on the outside, and, like, also
if I wasn't around type thing. And
yeah, and I became, like, dishonest in that, or rather, like, not transparent as I, like, normally am. And whenever that begins, like, you know that there's something going on, and I held on to this, and then I was unable to let myself fully, like, lean into this as a result, and then it all just, like, came out because you thought you were going crazy, because you were like, yo, I know something else happened
like,
there.
Something is wrong.
And I never told them that
something felt off the whole time, and it was just like, it was something in her communication, her energy, like, and I'm just like, there's something I'm missing, like, something is going on, and I don't know why, because I kept saying like, yeah, I want to see us as, like, something that can last, but, like, there's something holding me back. There's something, like, getting in the way. There's this feeling, there's this, like, whatever. And then she finally just one day exploded.
I was in therapy the week before, I think, and it, like, all came tumbling out. And I was like, oh shit, that's problematic. And then, you know, I broke, and I broke everything down. And from there, like, I never expected ever for Daddy to ever, like, be okay with me. Like, I straight up, like, lied to your face. I don't lie. And, like, I didn't expect, like, I fully thought that as soon as I had sent that first lie, that was it. And I was, any other time after that was just like blessed time that was actually in sin because I hadn't told you the truth yet. And for you to be able, and for us to like take that time, and like for me to actually feel like in a way like resolved of the like forgiveness, like that's just a whole new concept too to me. Like I straight up fucked up, and I was the podcast with like learning self-compassion from that too. Like I now know that because I fucked up so bad, and because I see the ways in which I fucked up, like I'm never gonna do that again. And now it's like I'm able to so much more authentically connect and like be transparent in all pursuits without a single second of like anything else that I wouldn't share with you. Right. And that is like a new skill unlocked. And I'm sorry, and I always will be, that like that did hurt the hell out of you, and that's what it like took for me to learn a lesson. But like here again, your pain has taught me lessons, and that seems to circle to like your whole message in BDSM, and I'm sappy for you. No, I'm sappy. I'm not crying.
You're cute.
Just crying.
You're allowed to cry.
I know. I just like and we took we went to therapy.
We went to therapy together.
Because we're that gay, and I have access to therapy, and like if you can, like everybody should go to therapy. And my therapist is super open with
you have access, being the being the important part of that. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yeah, and we went there, and I knew that like we both knew we needed to step away in order for any like clarity to come, because we're like, I am head over heels in love with you, and it's like you're my best friend too, and it was like that distance though for myself to be able to like be by myself, because I did kind of jump.
Squirrel.
There's a bird. Yeah, it's a bird. But yeah, I hadn't really been on my own, and I was scared to be on my own, which is like red flag. Yeah. So many red flags. So many red flags. So I'm a long-term investment project.
Literally. I just. And here I was, and that's not to say that like I haven't also learned lessons throughout this whole ordeal. For instance, like I have never been this patient. Like I have never been this patient.
Okay.
And
I'm such a brat.
Not to say that I'm not a patient person, but like I mean, like that is one of my weaknesses, that I am like, I have been known for not being patient, you know, and I've had to work on that throughout my whole life, my whole entire life, and especially in my, you know, healing and growing journey. That's been one thing that I've always intentionally worked on, and realized the value in it as I've gotten older as well, because it's like I was also patient with you because I recognized in you like the fact that the things that you did were not malicious. Like, and I think that it's very rare to find people that even have um that sort of capacity. Like even when we took a break, I told you, you know, it's hard for me to have you around, look at you and not think of you as my baby girl, because like my instinct immediately was that like I needed to you know, like I wanted to protect you, and I wanted to like build you up. I wanted to like you know, like I'm like you're a baddie somewhere in there, you know, like you got that Chihuahua energy. We can turn it into a Great Dane. You want to touch
I want to
knees?
touch
You're
knees.
so cute.
Business.
Because we had some technical difficulties, and now we are inside, and that's fine. Now we have to have dinner after this, so we're gonna finish it up. What were we doing? Come closer.
I know, you're gonna touch knees. We were touching knees because you were saying that I was a baddie.
Wait, move back a little bit. We're not touching knees. That's not knees. There we go. Knees.
You told me I was a baddie, and you saw me as a baddie, and then I asked if we could touch knees because we were talking about the journey to get here. Mm-hmm. And the trials and tribulations and polyamory. That was the last question.
Right. Want to tell me a little bit about what was kind of going through your head when you sought out other people? When we first started, mm-hmm. and we were exploring polyamory, and I had kind of my own idea of what I wanted already. I didn't want to be solo poly, and I never wanted to be solo poly. And I felt like you wanted to be solo poly, and I feel like that kind of threw things off for us a bit.
Mm-hmm. I think in my most idealistic version of polyamory, it is more of a communal feel where you are engaging in like relationships with your metamors and being, you know, like a family unit, versus solo polyamory, kind of living out separate lives. And I think when I was first engaging, I was coming from a place with a lot of red flags of like even the fear of living alone. Yeah. Like getting an apartment and being like, I'm like, maybe I have the resources to live alone, which let alone is a blessing and privilege, but like the fact that I actually existed in a headspace of thinking that I wanted to have a roommate because I feared the quiet, like it was out of the same kind of feeling of, here's my partner daddy having like successful other relationships, and like me, you know, in my own way wanting to just feel fulfilled and like fill, you know, the spaces that any space that had a chance of being filled, I wanted to fill it so I wouldn't have to like face my own shadows and like face the reality of like what I was doing that was so like egregious. Was that the word earlier? No. But like, was it?
No.
You know, no.
I remember us talking about a word. Now I can't remember.
I can't either, but
it's fine.
Like,
it's fine.
Yeah. So I feel like, I don't know, it's just this cycle of self-harm for my own self and feeling like a self-sabotage, frankly. And all of that stemming from a lack of like self-compassion or love, or now I'm like, just, it doesn't feel like a lot has changed, but at the same time an immense amount has changed internally, even though like externally things still look the same.
Yeah.
Even though they don't look the same, like I look different. Like I look.
Baby girl's been self-caring.
I never represent, baby. I can clean up.
You're $1 million baby. Are you $1 million baby?
I'm hoping to be. Let me. Yeah.
So, what would you say you've learned from being in the lifestyle, both BDSM and polyamory?
I think my immediate question is like lifestyle versus like relationship, and how do I differentiate the two? Because it's like, what have I learned from you, or like what have I learned from the lifestyle? What, like,
I guess a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Like,
I think,
put it into categories.
Yeah, like in the self-love area, like what that actually means is confidence. I couldn't look in a mirror. I literally could not look in a fucking. I could, if I was looking at this camera right now. Can you imagine me doing this 2 years ago? No. Can you imagine me even sitting still? Remember the first time we took pictures together when I was at top?
Yeah.
And I had the dress on, and like that was the first time I ever took a photograph that I could even like look at and be like, yeah, oh, she's kind of pretty. Oh, she was that's
very
good
pretty.
Enough. That's
she was very, very pretty.
Okay, we can look at that.
Very, very pretty.
Without wanting to vomit and cry and like run into the other room. Like I literally existed from a place my entire existence of looking and wanting to vomit. Looking and wanting to scream and cry and start over again. Like it wasn't a second ever in my life that I looked at myself and actually liked what I saw. And so I think like in that category, like physically, like liked what I saw, but also spiritually see what I saw, like digging into those deep ancestral carnages that occurred, and like facing that, and there's that realm of like how deeply into DS dynamics is that in that way. And that's just the self stuff. Like there's also the being unapologetically myself and holding people accountable got me fired. Like you have like you literally, when you start walking the walk and following like consent culture and like being unapologetically clear and sincere in your communication, you start causing ripples, because like that's not really the norm in the capitalistic society.
Nobody wants to be woken up. Nobody wants to have to face the reality of things.
Yeah, and in order to do both polyamory and BDSM in like an ethical, like intentional, mutualistically symbiotic way, like you need to have that level of communication, and not everybody, I think, is at a vibrational place where they can do that, or like have the bandwidth for that.
Right. And some people have further to go than others, and it's no fault of their own.
No, it's all, we each have our own teas. It's just like, if that's kind of like your setting, like baseline, like neurodivergent, open, like this makes sense, this jive makes sense with my frequency. But I think that there's a lot of ways too that I could have entered this and been really destructive, like I was also. And if you don't have that level of like love and trust in yourself, and ability to face yourself, and ability to take accountability, like it can be
harmful.
Yeah.
And especially another thing to note is, especially if you can't, it's one thing to take accountability, it's another thing to take accountability and change. you know, like you might be strong enough to take accountability, but like, are you going to do anything to change the way that you move from then on? And that's one of the things I would like to give you your flowers on. Like 100%, when you say you're gonna move, you move.
It's like a reward.
Yeah. Like you not only take accountability, but you have been able to work on yourself and move forward and grow from it, even when you do something really shitty. Like that's another thing. It's one thing to apologize. It's another thing to apologize and then do something about it, or do something about the way that you acted in the first place, or show that you've changed. Show that it has impacted you. And I can say that you are one of the only people that I've met in this world that is able to do that, and not be ashamed of it. Move on to another question, but I actually want to ask you about this. We've been joking like you're neurodivergent as fuck, right?
Got that tears in red.
What can you say about being on the spectrum, being ADHD, and navigating this lifestyle?
It's like if you were not blind, but had like bad vision, and then somebody was like, yo, here's some glasses, and they're actually like your prescription, and then you put them on and you're like, oh, like it's like clear boundaries. It's like a more focused version of life that you can just step into and like put on at any time that you want, and you have the flexibility to like advocate for what you want that to even look like. Like you get to pick your frame, like you get to pick, like, hey, there's like this going on in my head right now, and the mental health and physical benefits of so many different parts that you've introduced me to, whether it's the relationship between like stimming and like sensory input to the actual like impact play, or if it's this ability of like sensory play and to have you focus in on like these inner parts is meditative. It's really, I think, helped my psychosocial and sensory like somatic experience. And so with being like a sensory seeking person that is, like has been an addict and like has these tendencies to, overindulge and like do too much, go too far, like all of that, like to be able to exist in a space where I have a mentor. It's not like but like I have a dad, like my daddy, like, and when we take away the like, oh, daddy, like it is just like a literal like,
it's a symbiotic
mutualistic relationship. Yeah, like you want what's best for me and you know what's best for me, and I trust that about you, which is like a whole other thing. But like in that baseline, if you can find a partnership where there is that mutualistic symbiosis, the ability to take off my brain and like relax and let you take control, and also know that like wherever you guide me, it's not gonna let me go too far. Like right. I'm safe. I am able to put my guard down and just be free to like be taken care of in ways that I can't do by myself or on my own. And like that modeling of what that feels like then allows me to like apply those principles then to myself and better care for myself, because I've never known how to care for myself in the way that you've shown me that you can care for me because of how you care for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it is kind of mentorship because you had to reach that place too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I think that also comes back to like the exploration of these roles. Like, I've noticed the conversation around, like, for some reason I've noticed people don't have a problem with people don't seem to have as much of a problem with grown men calling women mommy, but like they have a big problem. Like, a lot of people have a big problem, especially women, especially like AFAB people, with the DDLG thing. And I think it's because it's so closely related to or it evokes the thought Charles Xavier.
I have seen a lot of people feel uncomfortable with the knowledge that that is like what somebody could go by, or like calling somebody that to begin with. There's like that side of things is like it's like power, but then there's also like the DDLG, like how pedophilia is so real and rampant and in that like sector of things. Like,
I understand to on one level, especially if people have had that type of trauma in their life, then they may personalize it, and I wouldn't fault anyone for that. You know, I'm like, who am I to say that like your trauma is wrong? I'm not gonna tell you that you can't react to it however you want, you know. But I think that the misconception is that it's automatically about age play. Yes, there are, or age regression. Yes, there are some people who do that. But I feel like in every community, you're going to find people who go too far. You're going to find people who do shitty things as human beings. You're gonna find those like scum of the earth type people that are just like not morally sound.
Any
the Marquis de Sade, for instance, was immoral.
Yeah.
An immoral
bottom line though, DDLG does not equal age play.
Not automatically. Like, some people are, you know, obviously there are age players, you know, but I think that one thing that people misconstrue a lot is like a lot of age play has nothing to do with sexual stuff. Like it has a lot to do with being able to get back into
little
the
space
of that innocence,
taking care of your inner child,
ability to let go of the adult stuff for a little while and just like be in your head as a kid. And like, and as for the DDLG thing, you know, there are roles as we said, symbiotic, you know, mutualistic relationship. It's the nurturer to the nurturee, the caretaker to the caretakee, to the big to the little, like
the yin to the yang.
Exactly.
And which one am I?
You're the white one. You're the white one. you know, and I think that people really need to understand that about people before they start throwing out accusations of pedophilia, especially since a lot of our community works through their traumas using kink and BDSM, and you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what happened to them in the past. And like, what if that does have something to do with what has happened to them in the past and they're trying to work past it? For instance, if they are an age player and they've never felt safe being a child because they were molested, then you're an age player because you have a dom who is not going to be sexual with you when you are age playing, when you are age regressing. They will literally, you can literally have a dom that will have tea parties with you. Why? Because you're trying to heal that part of you that felt unsafe throughout your whole entire childhood. Now you get to do it as an adult. You get to let go of those boundaries and have someone who you can trust is not going to touch you. And that's the thing, like, people hear BDSM, they hear kink, and immediately they're like, sex. And it's
Rough
like,
sex.
it's not always
50
sex,
Shades of Grey.
you know?
No,
Right.
and that's the
50 Shades of
thing
Grey
is, like,
is
it's
such a
literally,
piece of shit.
I would venture to say, like, not even half of it's sex. It's a complete mental shift that
I wouldn't
vanilla.
say half of,
No,
not
but
even
like
half
think
of it,
about
but
a regular old vanilla hetero like monogamous relationship. The ability to state your needs on that internal like childhood scarring vulnerable level and say, hey, this is what I need, and having that trust there, like that communication, like I don't know if that exists in as much prevalence in the vanilla world as it does in the kink world.
Right. And I mean, that's why we do this. That's why we're doing this, because you know, I want to show people more of the non-sexual side of kink and BDSM, and the more cerebral part of kink and BDSM, like
the therapeutic,
like
intentional,
really explore
like
our depths. Let's really see what's beneath the surface and not just the crap that they throw on TV to try to cash in on the image of a community that they're not a part of. I have two more questions. And then we can wrap this on up.
And eat steak.
I'm so excited.
You want it now. Cheese curds! I made cheese curds. I cooked for the first time with pleasure. And I cut up potatoes and messed it up.
Pleasure! You didn't mess it up.
I didn't mess it up. Daddy judged me.
Of course I judge you.
You're uneven.
So here's the question. Do you think you could ever go back to vanilla?
No, it's so basic. Here's the thing. No. I mean, if someone was open to like learning in a dynamic and like wanted that like same projection of growth, like I would be willing to be like, let's say like in or along with the role with you of like guidance in that way. However, engaging in a relationship with someone that's against BDSM, kink, whatever you want to call it,
yeah, what if you met a vanilla person
that was just like I just don't see it, like, and maybe I'll like Sorry, buddy. It was just me. It was me.
Nobody.
It was me. It was me.
Sir.
It was me.
Charles Xavier.
Good boy.
Relax.
Lay down. Go to sleep. Like, if I don't see me aligning in a way that would be mutualistically symbiotic. Which if we like define that though, I mean, yes, there are roles in my life that and relationships and styles of things and like connections that I could have that didn't include BDSM. However, the principles of it comes to the communication. Mm-hmm. Like that transparent communication I do need in all parts. But the spiciness of like the spice, I mean, if I need spice somewhere. I need spice somewhere.
I mean, you're not gonna get another daddy, but
no.
Like,
I don't know.
Somebody kinky, at least.
I think I would prefer for sure kinky.
Yeah.
Like, however, I can't speak to like every situation.
Would you say that this lifestyle has changed you for better or for worse?
A whole new world. I have been changed for good. What is that song from?
I don't know.
Yeah. I find this question is silly.
Yeah. I was hoping. I was hoping that by the time we reached this question that it would be pretty obvious, but I didn't want to push anything.
Uh-huh.
You know,
because this is
nice,
non-biased.
Nice and natural.
Non-biased journalism.
Mm-hmm. It's non-biased journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could say
upholding rhetorical standards here, everyone. You make the case.
All right.
You like me better now than you did before?
I don't know how to take that question.
It's a weird one. Like when we actually break it down, like baseline, like I love you more every day. I feel like you.
Yeah.
You also.
I love you more every day.
Yeah.
And I think that when we started out, it was kind of like, I mean, to be 100% transparent, I think we talked about this before, but like I didn't really think that it would get far because I wasn't sure of the stability of you or the relationships. Let
alone like the immense differences, like culturally,
the huge
age,
differences, the
race.
American, West Indian, like
yeah.
You know, she went up in my mother's house, okay? My West Indian mother's house, and she did not understand the concept of boundaries, okay? Did not understand the concept of don't touch shit, okay? Like she was just touching, just going around, just touching everything, just.
I'd never even been in a house that had such a strict shoe rule. Like taking off my shoes, like
shoes inside. It's gross. It's nasty.
Outside clothes on the bed.
Yes. Oh man. Do not put your nasty outside body in my sheets. Okay? Like you don't put your nasty outside body in my sheets. No. On top of the comforter
with a blanket
thrown over it.
Yes.
Now then you can touch with your outside body.
I was just lost in caveman years.
No training. No training whatsoever.
Better now. I'm better now. I think I'm good now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good now. But it's taken a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Who would Thunk.
Maybe we can add one more thing. We mentioned race. How do you think that has impacted our relationship and dynamic?
Oh, my first instinct was thinking about the fact that I thought that I was at the time like using the word ally versus accomplice, but like I thought I was a good white person, you know, like working with underserved populations and having that kind of experience. I entered our relationship being the first interracial relationship I've been in as like in like the first like serious one, like not really understanding quite the complexities that are around, again, whiteness and the experiences that, you know, I especially wasn't open to, like growing up and being surrounded by people that didn't have any different or other cultural backgrounds. And like now I feel like it's taken, again, putting on different pairs of glasses, like learning about, you know, Black folk counting American flags to judge the level of safety that they have when they're driving through towns, or being able to go into a restaurant and discern if this is going to be somewhere where my partner feels safe at all, like knowing, like thinking.
She took me to this diner this one time, and she was like, "Oh, it's the greatest! It's the greatest!"
They were like Confederate flag bumper stickers in the parking lot.
Confederate flag bumper stickers. Okay, and we walked in,
and I'm like still in this cloud of whiteness.
Turned around. Everybody turned around to look at the Black person that came through the door, and it was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. I felt like I was in a Twilight Zone fucking episode, and I was like, we need to get out of here ASAP.
Yeah, right, that's the diner and the only restaurant that I ever went to my entire life. That is the only place my family would go out to dinner. So it's like, that's what I was coming from. And thinking like, you know, I kind of separated from the pack a little bit in college, and like began my own journey, and my family was like, you know, like I have grown up with rampant racism. And so I now am like I cringe hard at me 2 years ago when dealing with race. Like, oh gosh. And I say the same to like my previous students as well. Like, the teacher that I was a few years ago was very different than the teacher that I am now. Yeah. And the way that I see the complexities and the structural impacts that race has on our society, like, he's so cute. Yeah, it's definitely
snoring though.
Can you see his paws in the video?
No, I don't.
He's so handsome. But yeah, race definitely plays a big role in like the learning curve of this evolution. And I'm very grateful for that as well. And like, I know that it ends up being a lot of labor on your end, and that's the shitty part. But frankly, hopefully having conversations like this can help kind of break that amount of labor down, so that it is the labor that you've put into me can then have me impact and echo and share what I have learned through you, and that takes the labor again off of your shoulders.
Yeah. And I also think because this conversation has been coming up lately in the community too, our roles, you know, make it so that it doesn't feel as at least to me personally, it doesn't feel as laborsome to help you, or to help nurture you and help you to learn. Because obviously, and you know this, I'm not about to lend labor to that, and I'm not about to just be like, oh yeah, like I'll be the woke person for everybody, like I'm not about to go like
You'll run
share
yourself dry. Most people
Right,
want to learn.
I'm not about to. But I think that with us, it's like, you as the submissive is kind of easier to handle. And when it comes to interracial relationships, where it's like the DS dynamic is the other way around. Like, sometimes I wonder, like what is that experience like for those people that are in the opposite dynamic. And I'm not gonna speak for them because
Are you talking like a white
like
dominant,
a white dominant
and a black
and
submissive?
Black submissive. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Pretty often, but like, it can get weird. Like I've seen some stuff. That I'm just like, do you feel good about that?
Yeah.
Though?
Whereas I'm like, reparations,
right. But like, and that's fine. But I think that it's so important, especially if you are in an interracial relationship and an interracial dynamic, that you do have conversations like this, even if your black partner is the submissive, like there should be even more discussion around it.
Shared in like previous relationships too, that like rage that comes up, and being able to like share that like has caused some difficulty and like some friction.
Oh yeah, I've been shunned for even exploring the topic of race. And how it affects me.
And so with that, being able to offer like a safe space for you to be able to like have those feelings as a white person is a privilege in itself too. And like for you to allow yourself to like be vulnerable and express yourself in those ways and not be judged for it too is, I think, revolutionary in its own way. Like that we are able to have those conversations about race where like we're both coming to the table wanting to grow together. Like I think that is better. Like our dynamic helps better facilitate racial racial rhetoric or like racial discussions, and figuring out, how can we come together and not be so segregated in our experiences.
Yeah. Well,
there's so much to go into,
right?
That
could be another 12 fucking episodes. So we're just
you got 2 days.
We're gonna wrap it up because we gotta go eat steak.
I want my steak.
Okay, we gotta go eat steak. But don't get it twisted. I have cut down my red meat consumption.
Yeah, we do feel bad about it. Like I don't want to be eating steak, but I have my period.
This is celebratory. This is like, But anyway, enough of these.
I was a vegetarian, okay?
We're about to go eat. Who cares?
I know. I'm white.
We're about to go eat. And, right, I'm a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian. But I'm a good person.
Dead.
All right.
Yeah.
So this has been another episode of Exploring Our Depths. I hope that everyone has been drinking their water, has been getting their meals on time, getting some sleep, and remember that you are not broken, just a little bent. And I will see you another time.
Can I get a fidget? Huh? Can I get a fidget?
We needed to wait. Not right now. We're testing the camera.
Hummingbird. Oh, she flew over there. She's on the... Sorry.
Well, just speak normally, and maybe now
Fill.
Pour those. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you say that again?
I said maybe now you could fill them, wench. Let's go.
Thank you, Daddy.
Maybe I'll, sometimes. Right? That might be too far up, though. Definitely not that. Sit up close.
I could also get different.
We could touch knees.
We could,
because we're gay.
scandalous. I don't know if that
Ooh, I can see too much ankles.
Yo.
I'm testing.
Because mine, I did split it well. And I also had a Trader Vic's chocolate liqueur in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I added that as filler.
I don't like that one.
No?
No.
That's I like that. Okay. But I will. Later, Gators.
I gotta pee.
I was gonna piss myself. I didn't want to say it.
In the episode.
Need
The battery's dying.
I'm gonna need one of them right here. 2, 3, 1. Oh, your lips are sticky.
Yep.
Very sticky. We're sticky.
That's my hemp oil.
I thought it was the chai.
No.
You gotta chai it.
Oh my god. Ow. My fucking hip. Oh god.
Daddy's old.
What's it feel like to be dating an old man?
What's it feel like to be almost 40? That's my question for you.
Wow.
They're 35.
Wow.